All right, you guys, we're going to do something kind of a little bit different today. Normally on this channel, we talk about construction, equipment, tools, and job sites. But I want to talk to you guys about something that I think is personally pretty important, and that's not being dependent upon somebody else for your personal welfare. I'm a big, firm believer in being self-reliant. In fact, the property I'm in right now, this is not my house out in the country. This is my house in the city. But I've developed a number of safety protocols into this house that allow me, if the grid goes down, I can still heat, I'll still have water. But I'm going to take this to the next level up north, and I'm developing and building a property out to be completely independent and not needing anyone else for any of my needs. And so we're going to head north today, and we're going to check out what my game plan is. And I need to hear from you if this is something that you guys find cool. And also another thing we're going to be doing is opening this box. This is not a tool. This box is one of the personal toys in my life, the personal joys, the things that I find really interesting, and I'm super pumped about what's in this box. So we're going to also be opening this up and checking this out in just a few minutes. But let's head north and start to check out what my plan is for up there and how to become self-reliant. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, you guys. We're up at Shangri Lodge, and we still got a ways to go on this property. But we are going to be starting a brand new project. We're going to be taking a modular home and converting it over into a self-sustaining, off-the-grid shelter. And I want to know from you guys if that's something that you guys would like to go along for the ride on, something like that. Let me explain my thinking up here. The whole concept of being up here is because you know, I see what's happening in the world today, you guys. It's obvious, not just with, you know, wars and conflicts breaking out, but also just locally, like what happened in Texas a few years ago when the snowstorm hit and the entire grid system failed, and there were so many people put at risk. And I wanted to create something that I could go up and still protect my family. And this is basically a modular home. And one of the things, there's this misconception about modular homes. Oh, they're kind of subpar, and actually nothing could be further from the truth. A modular home is actually built much better than a stationary stick frame home for one reason and one reason only. They have to withstand the rigors of traveling down the road, getting moved into place, getting jacked up, jacked down, and then finally set into place without shifting, without moving. So modular homes are already really structurally very strong, but they do have a kind of a look to them. And what we're going to do with this modular home is we're going to completely change the way this looks. There is a method to my madness. Now hear me out and let me know what you think of this. I want to create this as my shelter. So if the world goes south, I've got my off-the-grid, screw the system place that I can go and be safe. But if the world doesn't go south, I want to be able to rent out Shangri Lodge down below me, and I want to be able to rent this out and have people come in and lose the stigma of, oh, I'm renting a modular home. And I apologize if I've offended any of you guys by saying stigma about a modular home, but it is what it is. So let's just take a quick peek, and then I'll walk you through some of the details of what I want to do and the method to my madness with this. We're going to put in a wood burning fireplace. I don't want to be dependent on the grid for my heat. I don't want to be dependent on electricity to power my furnace. I don't want to be dependent on propane to heat this house. And currently, this entire property is dependent on somebody else supplying me the fuel to heat it. Now my house down below, my main cabin, I could not install a wood burning fireplace and make it make sense. So I built that structure as the main property that I'll personally live in, hoping nothing ever happens. But I can also rent it out when I'm not there and get, you know, recoup my funds, recoup my losses, or my investment, not losses, my investment into the property. But up here, wood burning fireplace goes in this corner. I'm going to put a mantle in place. I'm going to store my wood there. I've got a covered deck right out here. I'm going to be storing wood in the wintertime. I can completely use this entire zone to store my wood and keep it close at hand. So if we walk in here, let's just show you around the property what we've got going on. Just a standard bathroom, nothing big. This entire property's been winterized. Here's a back bedroom. Now what I'm going to be doing with this is converting this over to the bunk house. And we're going to call it probably the bunk house. I don't know what we're going to call this, the stony bunk house, because I'm going to be using a lot of stone, and I'm going to be using a lot of it from my own house where I took it off from a different structure. I'm going to take this closet out and I'm going to put a window in here, and I can use this as my office at that point. But I'm also going to put bunk beds in here and another bed right here, and this room will be able to sleep multiple people at that point. We're gonna do some cosmetic work in it, but here's your befores, and then I'm gonna take you guys along for the ride if you wanna see what that's like. Now as we go this way, the fireplace will be there, starting right there, right where this window is. This all comes out, and we're gonna put in an 8-foot window, which will take it right to there. From that point, we're gonna have support beams put in, put headers in across, back and forth. And then these 3 windows, which happens to be 8 foot from this point to that point, are going to be taken out, and an 8-foot patio door is going to be put in. Now we've got the good old 1970s cabinets in place, and there's nothing wrong with these. They're functional, they're strong, but they're really not very aesthetically looking. We got the nice gold trim to match, and there's a little bit something about that retro look that's not too bad, but I like rustic. I don't really like 70s retro. That's not my personal taste. So we're going to be taking all of these cabinets out over here. And I saved all of the cabinets from another remodel that I did in the lower cabinet when I built Shangri Lodge down below. And we're going to be retrofitting these. So these cabinets are going to be coming out of this back bedroom where they're just being stored and used in the kitchen. That was all the B-roll you get, Dan. Let's see what we got in the box. Yes, my thingy came. My thingy came. All right, well, let me explain to you guys what this is while I open this. This is from, I found a website called Skull Bliss. So it's, oh, it even smells good. Look at that. Perfect shape. So, Nick, do you know what Skull Bliss is? No, but I mean, do you know the story about what it is? No. So, these are sustainably sourced animals. So they're not slaughtered or killed just for their trophy skull. These are animals that are harvested, then they use all the parts of the animal. They're over in, I think, the Balinese or something. You know, they're on an island far away. And what this,
the animals get that?
Well, they raise the animals just like we raise them on the farm, right? Oh, look at this. And then they hire these local artisans, get to come in, and then they hand carve and they put these things together, and you can get them detailed all sorts of different ways. Look at that. So we got the feathers. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, it's fancy.
Isn't that nice?
Fancy skull.
Yeah. And what it does is it puts food and water on the table for guys that may not otherwise have them. Could you help me?
What do you want me to do? Hold it?
Hold it or put the horn on.
Out.
don't even know if this is the correct side. Is there a left and a right?
You're asking me. Oh.
Boom. Oh, you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Did that hurt all at once?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I got this one.
You got that side?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go. You can hold your skull. Don't let it fall off. It'll snap your skull.
There it is. Look at that bad boy. How's it look? Is it cool?
Yeah, in a kind of creepy way.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's awesome?
It's in a creepy way. It's cool looking.
Okay, I can't see it. I gotta see it.
Oh, you got in the mirror?
Oh. There's no man alive that doesn't want a big giant skull on his wall of some kind of an animal. And if you're not gonna go out and harvest an animal yourself and use 100% of it yourself, I would say this is the way to do it. I did legitimately, I bought this at skullbliss.com and I read the story of how they got these animals, so no part of the animal went to waste. It helps put local people in that country to work that otherwise wouldn't have work. Their selection was phenomenal. And now you guys got to see me uncrate this and exactly how well it's shipped. This is the way they do it. Nothing special was done. So let's get right back into my property up north. Now to heat this home, it's a really long home. I think it's 72 feet long. That heat isn't going to travel, and I'm anticipating what's going to happen if I have zero electricity. How am I going to heat this? And if a wood-burning stove over there is not going to provide adequate heat throughout this entire structure. So I'm going to put a second wood burner in right over here. This entire room is going to be remodeled, and then these two windows are going to be taken out right here, and then I'm going to put in an 8-foot window right there. So as a rental property, as an Airbnb, somebody can come up here, they can lay in the bed, or the bed can go here, I don't know where, look out and see the lake right from the master bedroom. They can build themselves a little romantic fireplace, heat this up, and we're not dependent on propane. But from a survivalist standpoint, if I'm cold, I got a furnace going here, I got a fireplace going here, and I got another one going in the other part of the house. I'm gonna have two different sources of heat so that I can get better heat distribution. Now in here we've got, I don't know, we've got a lot of water stain problems, so don't ignore the tub. That's actual what our water looks like. It's really rough. And speaking of water, one of the things that's probably gonna be addressed is, how are you going to get water to this place if there's no electricity? We're going to put in a hand pump well. Now we do have a solid well. We got a cast iron, or we've got a poured well. So we've got a good well on the property. We don't have the water filtration system set up, but that well that's on this property depends on electricity again. And I'm going to be going completely self-sufficient with this. So I'm going to put in a hand pump well. So that means worst case scenario, if I don't have electricity, I can hand pump a well and I can get water again. And I can also go right down to the lake and get all of the water I need. I've lived on this lake my entire life. I've drank that lake water my entire life. Some of you are like, yeah, you probably ate lead paint too, but you know, it is what it is. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna do with this bathroom yet, but I'm just gonna show you the before, and then as we go through this, we're going to be redesigning this to make it a little bit more user-friendly. People don't use tubs like this. I don't know. I've never used that tub. Not because it's filthy. This is what it looks like when it's been winterized. But just because we just don't use it. We use the shower. And the shower in this place, you hit your elbows on when you try to wash your hair. So I may end up taking this shower out, turning this into a closet, and then putting this as the entire shower. A nice big fat showers. I've always loved big fat showers. I mean, it is what it is. If you guys haven't seen already, I rebuilt my shower down in Shangri-La, re-poured the floor, put in all new work. But this happens to be the utility closet. We've got electric water heater in here. The pump pressure tank is in here. This is just going to be reused as storage. So there's a method to my madness on what we're going to be doing, and we're going to start taking you along for the ride. I know I did a lot of talking, but I kind of want to break this down because I know some of you guys are looking for your own plan B. Where do you go? Where do you, when the crap hits the fan, what are you going to do and how are you going to live? That's what I'm building up here is my shelter from whatever potential could happen. So you know what, without wasting any more of your time, I know this was 10 minutes of me talking, but we're gonna start working next. So let's go in here and I'm gonna come more talking, you guys, sorry. I'm gonna be going through this entire property and getting it to match Shangri-La. So I used cedar on Shangri-La, and you can see I've also custom cut the logs on the outside of the house. Problem is, in the last 18 months, it's April 2022 right now. In the last 18 months, the price of cedar has gone up so much that I can't afford to do this anymore. Now, what I did with this cabin was I actually harvested logs and then we notched them out so that we could create corners. And what I did is, you actually got a dead one there that I'm saving. I got another dead one there that I'm saving. I'm actually go through and I save all of my dead standing pine, and I'm going to be using those as the corner logs up on the stony bunkhouse, like I did with Shangri-La right here. The cedar itself is not going to be reused, and here's why. This is where you're not even going to believe it. Before I tell you how much one of these boards costs, this is a 1x12, 12-foot cedar. Take a guess how much one board cost. Take your best guess in the comments down below, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you. Have you guessed yet? Typed it in. $74 for that one board. That's 74, that's 150, that's 225, that's $300 to go from there to there in cedar siding. I'm going to a local sawmill and I'm getting 1x12 rough cut pine, and then I'm going to side this house. That same board in pine versus from a big box store in the city, milled at a local place. Take a guess how much a 1x12 locally milled is going to cost me a pine. I know they're not the same board, but I can make them look the same or really, really, really close. And I'm going to show you what I use to make that color. $7. When they quoted me that price, you guys, I stopped and I didn't want to say anything, but I'm like, could you just say that one more time? I'm thinking I'm missing a number or something. Did you miss the 2 in front of the 7? Was it 27? Was it 30, 47? 7. It was $7. All right, let me show you what we're going to be using here. This is what we covered the entire house in. Sickens, log and siding, transparent stain. That's what makes this house look the way it is. I covered my log house in that, and speaking of my log house back home, if you guys want to see that one, let me know in the comments down below, because that house is actually built to be quite independent as well. Not as independent off from the grid as I would like, but at least it's better than nothing. But some of you guys, if you like that look, that color, that's the product I used. That's how I achieved that. One of the things that you may be asking yourself is, oh man, look at, you got this, why is that color? I don't like that. Well, here's the deal. That cedar is left untreated on purpose because I'm intentionally aging it. And what I mean is, when I leave it without staining it, I get a really cool, unique patina right there. And what that patina ends up looking like, I love it. So the process is actually pretty fun. When I do this, it looks good now, but as it ages, it actually starts to look better in my own personal opinion. I don't know about you guys, but this is untreated, aged cedar, and it just complements everything so well. I just like how it just makes it very rustic, and it also goes with everything else, but it kind of offsets it. And that up there is going to eventually blend to this down there. A little bit of a method to my madness. I wanted to share what I'm doing up here because I'm a firm believer in having a backup plan, having a plan B, having a way to not be dependent on somebody else for the things that you need. And that's where Frankie and I have been working on for 18 months up here, is building Shangri-La. And if you want a more thorough tour of Shangri-La and of my house back home, let me know in the comments down below and I'll put that together for you. Let me show you one other thing. Boy, I can't stop talking today, right? It's like somebody put a quarter in my mouth. I'm calling it the Stony Bunkhouse, and this is why, you guys. These are all the stones that I pulled off from my fireplace back at home, and I rebuilt that to change that up to lighten up the load. And these are all gonna get reused and repurposed. And then what I don't like is with stones like this, they're concrete, they're fake. This isn't a real stone, it's concrete on the back, right? When you add real stones in, the smaller cobble in between on all those joint spaces, you can create the illusion that this is real. And then what I do as well, just to really bring that home and make it look authentic, I take real stones. You can actually see I pulled this one off from the fireplace back home. And I add real stones into the mix. And that just finishes that illusion off without adding all of the weight that real stones add, because real stones are really heavy. I'm not worried about weight in this modular home because it's overbuilt. It's built to go down the road. They're well fortified. You guys look at it. You're over there. They're really well fortified. And so if we have to do some reinforcement, we absolutely will. I've got no problem putting in headers. I've got no problem reinforcing walls. I mean, it's not that big of a deal to structurally fortify a house. So that's the plan. I'm going to call it the Stony Bunkhouse, I think. I don't know. What do you guys think? It needs a better name than that. So tell me what you would call this. Be nice. None of you guys are like, oh, Stan, stupid plan, or something like that. And some of you guys are, a lot of you guys are totally awesome. But that's it for this one. God bless you guys. Go get them. And I hope you guys hang around for the ride because we got more coming.